Welcome everybody. Pablo, we're on.
Ready to go.
Oh, Paula,
Well,
will you adjust my screen?
you're there,
Thank you.
Catherine. You look great. We're so excited. You're beautiful as always. Welcome everyone. We are so excited to have you all in the audience. We're so excited with the our wonderful panelists today, influencers, important, relevant, and impactful people, young people, which is so exciting for me. And thanks for joining us because I know everybody's very, very busy. And just as a reminder, we are live streaming this conversation that is going to be centered around our Elevate Latinos Communication Hub. Remember, it's elevatelatinos.com. It's a new digital platform that we launched last month designed to inform, connect, and activate young Latinos across the United States. For those of you that know us, we are a producers of data that shows how important we are in this economy. We are all focused on economy. And so we have three incredible leaders today to speak about some of those points about how their influencer voices impact this economy and this world. And each of them is an incredible leaders, and we're so honored to have them. They are definitely relevant voices in their respective fields, and they each will share their relevant and inspiring insights into how we can create change. Because remember, this is all about creating the change that we want to see. And they not only create change, they also build communities and they take action, right, to reclaim our narratives, which is so, so important. But first, I will give you a brief introduction to what exactly our communication hub is and why we launched it. That's really important for this conversation. First of all, this is the second phase for the Latino Donor Collaborative efforts. You know that we reach out to resource allocators. We've been for 15 years in touch with CEOs and people that make policy, etc. But we wanted to go to the next generation, to you, to the leaders, right? So with this, what we call the communication hub, we're providing a central place where young people can access all the reliable information that we create and more data, opportunities to engage with the issues, call to actions, facts of the day. We have, I'll tell you a little bit about all the different aspects of it. You actually could actually go right now to elevatelatinos.com in any of your browsers. You can also use the QR code that is here at the top right of the screen. But you will find there, first of all, I love some of our videos that are there. I really, really enjoy them. Again, we are lucky to work with a lot of those people that you'll see there, influencers, etc. We it's I one of the parts that I like the most is our Substack account because that's where we engage with you guys. But that's one of the very few. That's one of the many parts. We also have a college initiative. We have a pilot with two universities, University of Chicago and Arizona State University. It's been very successful. We plan to have many more in the next months and eventually reach every college in this country so that every kid that graduates from college knows the value of our community and our economic impact. So you can go in there, get into the college initiative. We also have a podcast, and almost everybody in this in all of our live stream events have been part of it. And the podcast is called Leaders on the Mic. Why? Because there are a lot of leaders, and leaders are great, but we like to interview leaders that use their voice to change things and to shape the community and shape the present and the future. So please engage on it. I am very proud of the people that we've interviewed, leaders on the mic. We also have a newsletter, so you can sign in for that newsletter. You'll receive facts, you will receive new information, analysis of news. You'll get a lot of different resources there. And then, of course, we have our weekly call to action, and we go into shows. We go and so we go actually into like this fun parts of pop culture, and we analyze how we can all together engage into creating that society that we all want, right? Especially in times like this where we are wondering what what we can do, and sometimes we have different jobs, we're going to school, we're doing a lot of things, but we like to know that that you have a call to action to do whenever you want to create a change and you feel like a transformational leader. um, all of you are very important in this call, not only the people in the panel but also the people in the audience, so feel free to just get there. First, last but not least, it's free. So you can go in, use it as much as you can. You can engage in the Substack account. We want to hear your thoughts. We want to hear your debates. We're open to disagreements, and if it's civilized, and we want to hear your positions. Right? We really want to be a place where people, young people, convene and provide their feedback. So, with that, enough of us. Um, Together with our speakers now, we will go ahead and explore how we all can bring our community to own and utilize this this kind of wealth of resources, right? And so let us begin with our speakers. And we have a fun little game here. I will introduce our first speaker, and then she will introduce the next one, and then the next speaker will introduce the next one. So that we hear a little bit from them, and it's not only me talking, but because I'm not that fun anymore. So, okay, let us begin with our first speaker, and that's Katherine Castro, who I am such a fan.
Thank you.
Katherine, you're a Dominican-born
Mhm.
actress, producer, and podcast host, blending not only storytelling but also culture and wellness.
Mhm.
Guys, wellness, I love that. I don't know if it's a woman thing for me or what it is. I don't want to be sexist, but I'm so excited with what you do. We're fans. I'm a fan individually, but also we all in the Latino Donor Collaborative agree that we are all fans and have been following you for a while. Katherine is the co creator and host of Essencia, a wellness podcast series exploring mental health and holistic living. She uses her social media platform of more than 1.5 million followers to champion Latino representation, authentic storytelling, and community empowerment. She's very humble, so I'm going to tell you a little bit of her merits before because she won't talk about them. She's been recognized by NBC Latino, honored with Hollywood Fame Award for International Breakthrough Artist, and many others that I won't say because we don't have enough time. But she also has many film and TV credits as an actress, including Mamba, The Summoning, and America 2.0. Please, Katherine, your time.
Well, it's such a pleasure. I'm truly honored to be here with all of you, and very, very humbled. I'm very nervous, so please forgive me if I stutter a little bit or if I go between English and Spanish.
You're a
Uh,
pro, Catherine.
but truly, it's an honor being here, and an honor to get to introduce Elio Morillo. I'm a big fan because I come from an Air Force family, an aerospace family, and to get to have him in the panel with me, I'm feeling like a kid cheering on for him. Elio is a space system engineer known as a space mechanic, contributing to NASA's Mars 2020 Perseverance mission. Currently avionics test manager at Blue Origin, leading integration efforts to next generation lunar landers. Can I go to the moon? Can I sign up for that?
Can I go too?
You know,
Elliot.
Ash, you can, is all I have to say. You can.
Okay, perfect.
You gotta prepare, but you can.
I'm ready for it. You're gonna need a Dominicana and the moon.
Yes.
Elliot's
Mango's actually probably really good food to bring to space. That's all I have to say about
Dude,
that.
that's my favorite meal. Elio is a best-selling author for The Boy Who Reached for the Stars, sharing a story of perseverance and ambition, national speaker, delivering keynotes on STEM, representation, and opportunity for the next generation. STEM advocate. The list goes on. I'm a huge fan and honored to be sharing this platform with you, Elio.
Catherine, thank you so much for the kind words, and thank you all for having me here. Clearly sharing the stage here with some fantastic individuals contributing in their corresponding communities, and this just shows that we're everywhere. We're not going anywhere, even on the moon.
Exactly.
I get the pleasure of introducing Che Guerrero, an artivist. I love that. I think it's the first time I hear that. It's a fantastic play on words, and I'm a huge fan of it. Che is an independent reporter. He's a writer and a comedian. His content is fantastic. He blends journalism with humor. He uses storytelling to spotlight the undocumented experience and systemic injustices that we're all probably very familiar with, either through our own stories or through our families. So I think it's really important to highlight this. Artivist, it's just because he leverages his multiple creative mediums to drive awareness. And I think storytelling is the most powerful tool we have right now to share our wins and our struggles. He's known for making complex and serious issues accessible and engaging. He's a trusted voice for a new generation seeking the truth, accountability, and impact. So thank you, Che, for being with us. And thank you, Catherine, for the intro. And Ana, thank you for having us. Che, go ahead.
Hey, thank you for that intro, Elliot. It made me seem cool. Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh man, it seems like I'm doing great work. I am. I need to give myself credit. I'm also like, but no, Elliot. I have nobody introduced, but I do want to say, like, I was checking out your work, a lot of it today. I love personally the way you do mix humor as well with space and giving a lot of breakdowns of how we could be spending our money in such better ways to look to the stars, for answers and remember it's not cheesy to say we are one world. We're all on this marble spinning through time and space, and we have to really figure out how to, be as one, and reach for further out. So I love the way you're doing that, and also breaking down the fact that we are going to the moon. This isn't a conspiracy theory. We're going to the moon. We're going to space, and all that stuff. And this is real, and Latinos are a big part of that. So I love what you highlight through your work. So thank you for that, and thank you for having me today and part of this. It's an honor.
Absolutely. Thank you, Che. Your words, you're absolutely right. We are going to the moon. We have this weekend, I was lucky enough to be at an event at UC Santa Cruz, and I met with this classroom full of Latino astrophysics
Mm.
physicists. I'm sorry. English is second language. They corrected me. Astrophysicists, and you see this kid. I mean, like some of them have awards that like world awards. It's just global awards, and yes, we not only are going to the moon, we're changing the world. So yes, you're right, Che. Absolutely. Okay. Thank you for your introductions. I love this kind of introductions because I see how you guys can work together. How we're a community, and you guys actually are a community that help each other, and that will really create this synergy. That you have this energy together. So okay, now let's start. I will ask one general question for you all, one, and then we'll go from there. Let's just make it creative and jump in whenever you have an opinion, when you have a question, when you have an anecdote. This is a conversation of friends, and that's how we make these events fun. So okay, here's an opening question to all of you. Let's start with like in reverse. Let's start with Che in general, Che, and then we'll go from there. Um, when we look at media, and we decided to start with media because of Che and because of Catherine and because of all of you, but this is an important subject. When we look at media and representation today, media, and I'm talking about traditional media, not great media that you guys are, traditional media, like whether it's news, entertainment, or even some traditional digital platforms, there's still a huge gap between the reality of who Latinos are and how they're being portrayed. So I want to hear from you. What do you think is still missing, or what's misunderstood, or what's the gap that exists where our stories and our talent are not being portrayed enough? Remember, we are, you guys, Gen Zers and Gen Xs are 27% of young people. And so, not Gen X, I'm sorry, Gen Zers. 27% of all Gen Zers are Latino. Keep that number in mind, because Latinos are also 30% of the births, and that's the U.S. Census. I'm not making anything up. That's the U.S. Census. So what's the gap that traditional media is still not flooding? Che, let's start with you, because I have you. You have a lot of opinions.
Yeah. So you kept going like Generation X, Generation Z. I forgot we were actually at one point Generation Y.
Yes.
And I remember a lot of our friends were going like Generation Y us. That's what we thought our name was going to be.
And you know what? I
us.
didn't know exactly who's
Yeah.
who here. I was like, in terms of
Yeah.
age, I know who you are, but not in
Well,
terms of
millennial. I'm millennial now. And unfortunately, with the atmosphere that we're in right now politically, I hear from people in media that it's even worse now for a lot of Latino actors, producers, writers. But I keep trying, and I think for a long time I was banging my head against the wall trying to be, how can I get these big media companies to start taking us more seriously. I love sharing the LDC data wherever I could. I've been in these rooms, and people just kind of gloss over our numbers, our data, our existence, to the point where I realize we really do need a healthy underground ecosystem of Latino artists, musicians. I myself am more trying to create underground rooms for new artists, new creators. I'm doing a lot of knowledge sharing where I'm teaching young people how to be content creators, because I feel like we need to stop asking for permission, and we have the ability to create our own spaces that will rival, because not only do we have the US market, but we have the Latin American market. And also, let's not forget, we have Arab cousins and and tios and tias who are Irish, you know what I mean? So like we can actually expand beyond what traditional media believes we can do. And I can speak for someone, when I'll pass it off. When I first started in actually before the content creation world, I used to talk a lot in my stand-up about the undocumented experience and immigration, and they used to tell me, nobody wants to hear that. Nobody cares. And then I went online and I found nearly 1 million immigrants and undocumented people who care very much, and allies. So they keep telling us that we're not there and the numbers are not there. But the second I stepped in, I'm like, look at all these people.
All right.
And look how I'm able to create a career for myself outside of the traditional medium. So that's why I always tell people, you have to create it for yourself, but not just yourself. You need to work with people. We can help create these spaces, and it doesn't exist in a vacuum. We need to work together and not worry about, are we going to get the approval of the mainstream? Once we're making money, and once it's successful, and once it's a powerhouse, they'll come knocking.
So well said. I want to hear what Elio has to say, but can I tell you something? This event that we were today at, the Time Magazine annual 100, whatever, it was incredible, because, as I said, there were people like, Kate Hudson and Hilary Duff and a lot of different people. The one person that got almost a standing ovation, I mean, literally interrupting, clapping people like left and right, was a person from my generation. Actually, his name is Richard Edelman, who talked truly about how he stands against ICE, how immigration is such an important part, diversity is so important. Can I tell you, he's the one that brought down the room, right? And this is the thing, that when people told you people don't want to hear about it, that's not true. People want to hear about that, and that's why you're successful. So anyway, imagine how wrong people that were controlling traditional media and are still controlling traditional media. Last comment, sorry, I'm talking a lot, but last comment. Our talent and our stories cross over globally. They Mexican actors, Dominican actors, and Sol Saldaña is one of the people that got that got on the 100 list of Time Magazine. They cross over. I mean, they're humongous all around, right? So anyway, with that, Elio, please tell us what you think about this subject.
Oh yeah, I think there's a few topics, a few things I want to hit, and I'm just going down the list from what I heard at the beginning. You highlighted something that's really important to me, that 20% of the Hispanic population. And I'm going to deviate the question here just a little bit. Something I deal with on a daily basis is the fact that there's 20% of the current population, projected to go to to about 30% in the 2050s.
Mhm.
In the world that I live in, not in media, I'm in STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. As of today, the best estimates are saying something along, we have maybe 12% representation.
Mhm.
So there's a very clear gap between that 12 and that 20
Mhm.
that we need to work to close, particularly because in STEM right now, there's a lot of wealth building.
Yeah.
There's a lot of decision making that affects our communities day to day.
Mhm.
And we're often not part of those rooms. So from the time I was in college, I graduated in 2015 from my undergrad, it used to be about 8% is where the STEM representation was, to now see it at 12. There's still work left to go, but every year I see more and more interest, and I think that number needs to grow. Um, Industries are growing, lots of money is going to be just spread, and it really does matter that we capture a lot of that wealth to be able to make these decisions. And we're already amongst the biggest spenders within the United States. So it's evolving, it continues to evolve, and I'm going to keep it, to my subject matter, which is going to be the space industry. Space industry is projected to grow to just to $1 trillion in the next 15 years. It's currently about 400 billion. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of wealth that's going to be generated, and we need to be part of these industries. Not only from the technical side of things, there's all kinds of practices, business, law, media. I mean, there's so much growth, so much room for us to go show up and take up space. So I'm very passionate about that. I think it's really important because even though we do come from struggling backgrounds. I mean, I'm an immigrant myself. I'm not first gen. I came here when I was a young boy. I grew up between Puerto Rico and New York City. I was born in Ecuador. I know firsthand what it is to grow up in a single mother household. My mom was a teacher. She didn't know the language, so she had to pick up all kinds of jobs. I became her retirement account, and she's right here, hanging out, chilling now, because I'm able to support her. And I think it's really important to be able to share these stories.
Yeah,
That we can come from very, very, very little. Yet we can contribute, not only contribute, but lead. And I'm very proud of the fact that I am part of this Artemis effort through private industry. And I mean, y'all saw those images. Y'all were able to connect with the humanity of it all over the last few weeks. And we're present. We're there. We had Latinos in the room in mission ops. We have Latinos in the room building the spacecraft. We're not going anywhere. We're going to continue pushing forward and not only take advantage of opportunities, but make sure we do have a responsibility here. We have a responsibility to make sure that the doors that were open to us stay open, and we continue to open more doors. I think that's something I'm very passionate about, and I continue to spread around my community.
God, I can't wait to see what Katherine has to say. But I have to say, what you just described is our numbers, our data in a person. Thank you, Elio. I love what I hear. And I have so many comments, but please go ahead, Katherine. I want to hear what you have to say.
Well, yeah, I want to piggyback on what Elio was saying about that we are not in those rooms, and that I feel that happens globally in all industry, especially in the entertainment industry, and that's why you don't see a real representation of who we are, because the persons making those decisions, the studio executives, they're not Latino, so they don't know our voices, they don't know our stories, they know a stereotype of what they think will probably sell in the entertainment industry, whether TV, movie, any sort of media. And so the only way we can make that change is if we are in those rooms. And how are we in those rooms? Obviously, we are not being invited to be part of those rooms. So we need to find a way to create our own groups, our own stories, our own studios. It's a longer route. I get it. It's more difficult, but it's the only way that we are able to not only be in the rooms, make the decisions, but also keep the door open for the newer generations of Latinos. So we shouldn't be gatekeepers. Once we get there, we're supposed to embrace everyone else, because what is important about the Latinos, and why you were saying that our stories transcends generations and transcends globally is because it's a human story. If we start focusing on making it, well, it's a Latino story, therefore we go into the stereotypical, which is what Hollywood does, where they nos representa una forma and that we're criminals, we're everything but space engineers, doctors, lawyers, attorneys, successful. We are more than just what Hollywood wants to make us, or the way they represent us. And so the only way we can do that is if we create the narrative, we control our own narrative, we share our stories, our point of view, and creating our own spaces. And trust me, if you create that space, it will transcend. It will gain the audience. It will gain the support. Because like Che was saying, the moment when he was listening, that no one wanted to hear what he was talking about, and then he went and opened his own social media platform, or his underground platforms, he found 1 million people that actually didn't want to talk about that. So that says a lot. I feel like we've been massively brainwashed, and we all have a collective imposter syndrome, but it's not real. The numbers show it. We represent 4.1 trillion GDP. Those are the latest numbers. We spend 2.1 trillion when we go to the movies. We're the number one movie consumers. Oops, sorry. We're the number one movie consumer. So what does that say? That we do have more power than we think. So instead of wanting to be in those rooms, why don't we create our own rooms, in our own studios, in our own award system? I feel that people in my industry, their goal is always the Oscars, the Oscars, the Oscars. I understand it's a great recognition, but like, excuse my language, F the Oscars. It's
Absolutely.
right. It's not the end all be all. Just because it doesn't. And also, even a little bit furthermore, I feel like they dangle us with a little carrot because they have 1 or 2 Latinos representing us in the entire Hollywood community. I'm sorry, that's not enough. We're more than that.
100%. And I have, you all are right on point. So let's say what you're saying, Katherine, about, how I use a lot for what you just said, the word gaslighting. Because I feel, I came to this country 30 years ago. I was born and raised in Mexico. And I remember falling in love with the US Latino community and then feeling constantly gaslighted as what we were. I'm like, no, I see all these incredible stories around me. And you're telling me we're all drug dealers and we're all, pobrecitos that never, that we are victims of everything. That's not us. We are that. We don't like hand-me-downs. I mean, we don't like handouts. We don't like, we can do things. The only thing we need is access.
Exactly.
I also hear that what Che, you were saying about creating our own platforms. We actually should create our own tables, so we have in them constantly and just grab them, to be honest. And third point, what you were saying, Elio, there's this evolution, and you're right, we still have a gap. There's no doubt about it. But let me tell you that we've overall, in the last 15 years, we've created 72 reports, 2 of them with SHIP, the Society of Latino Engineers. You know them perfectly. So I don't know if you know this number, but in 2010, 4% of all the students of engineering were Latinos. 2010. By 2021, 16% were Latinos. We're getting there. That table that Che is talking about is actually happening. We're creating them. And then, and the gaslighting is starting to fade little by little. More importantly, there are 2 solutions. One, from media. What happened with music, years ago with Pandora and with Apple Music, etc., is happening in content, in video content right now, but also the evolution of you guys. Your story, Elio, with your mom, right? With a single mom, is your story, Che, also. I've heard you talking about it, right? My story as a mom, right? Coming here, my kids being born here. That generation of immigrants like me, which was prevalent in the last decades of the 20th century, is now going to college, is now educated, is now it's empowering. So it's inevitable. We are getting there. And of course, the fastest, the better, but congratulations, you guys are getting there. And so that's really, really important. There's so much to say about this because I know that you guys can totally change the world. But I have a question for Katherine. You've been very vocal about not wanting, permission or not waiting for permission from Hollywood. I love that. I love how you talk about it so passionately. And you don't love traditional gatekeepers. Who does, right? Because they're wrong. They have a complete different idea of who we are. So in a media landscape that still often represents us, what do you actually look for? And what do you want to build your platform based on? I mean, what are the the premises, the values? And once you have that platform, how do you think you're going to fulfill the responsibility? Because you will succeed. We know you're already succeeding, but you will succeed even more. What will be your contribution to this? I don't want to say it fight, but this journey of creating our fair representation, and then attracting everybody else, because quite frankly, your audience is not Latino only.
Right.
You guys, the three of you, audience that comes from everywhere, right? Like Che was saying, Arabic countries everywhere. So what would be your goal to give back?
Well, I think for me, again, it always comes back to the human experience, the humanity of our stories. One of the reasons why I started, producing films is because I've never seen myself represented in media. Even as seeing, Latino series, the little that have been, produced and have been in the media, I never saw myself because they were stories with a background that I couldn't relate to the point that when I moved, for instance, from the Dominican Republic to Los Angeles, people would ask me, where's Dominican Republic? Is that in the Pacific? And still to this day, I get, you don't look Dominican, you're white, you look, they tell me everything but except Dominican. So for me, the most important thing that I can do, and I guess the legacy, is tell my stories in a very truthful way, and also rely on storytelling through my own experience, which is what I see, what people connect with. When you come from a personal experience, from a truthful place, and you tell these stories, you are able to connect with people, galvanize them. You start a conversation because they start saying, I went through this, I had a similar experience. I cannot tell you how many times I got that with Someday, one of my short films, and Week, where everyone had an experience to talk about because they have been through that. So that's what I like. When I tell stories from my own experience, I feel and I notice that it touches people because they see themselves represented in that, because they've also been through that. So again, it's just really talking about real human stories. I find inspiration every single day. I hear someone's story and I get an idea, oh my God, this is a movie. This is so interesting. Yet they don't think it's interesting because it's just their life. So real life is so much fascinating than fiction. So that's what I like to do. And right now we live in a creator economy. We don't need the studios to give us permission to tell these stories. We can take advantage. I mean, even the studios are moving towards the regular studio system to the creator economy, investing in vertical series. So that says a lot of the power that we have now, that we don't need a studio. You have a phone, you have story to tell us. Guess what? Start with your own life. Your life is so fascinating. Don't let anyone ever tell you that it isn't. You have story to tell, and people will connect with that 100%. And then when it regards, again, how I got involved in the wellness community, it all started also from my own experience. Wellness is so important to me because I couldn't find the answers when I discovered that I had an autoimmune disease, I didn't discover it because the traditional Western medicine doctors told me. I had to learn how to read my own blood work and figure out that I had Hashimoto. So I went through this whole rabbit hole and spent so much money that it's insane. If I had to do that right now today, I wouldn't be able to. So my goal is always to come from a place of truth, from a place of personal experience. And when it comes to the wellness aspect specifically, I pair up and partner with, well, bring them to our podcast, medical professionals that just to get access to that, to them directly, you would have to pay so much money because the medical system now is everything is so expensive. So we want to bring people, the experts in the different areas in the wellness industry, medical professionals. And I ask the questions that I learned how to ask that people don't know how to ask because people don't know what they don't know.
Yep.
So I like to be a facilitator. Just, here's the information. Here's what you can do. Now, will this empower you? And can you take the power into your own hands and create your own things, your own well-being, your own, tu propio bienestar, and tell your stories?
Totally. That's a pretty compound and comprehensive contribution that you want to, make to our community. I like that. I definitely
I'm
like
very
it.
ambitious.
Thank you. That's good. We need to be ambitious. We all need to. Che, I have a question for you because one of the things, even before meeting you in person, that is so incredibly attractive about what you do is your experience and how you share it, right? You've talked many times, you're not undocumented anymore, but you were undocumented. And that really shaped you. And you've shared with us many times that, it was surprising how exciting and at the same time sometimes dangerous and sometimes really kind of they people just made out of you just undocumented, right? They didn't think about your talent, they didn't think about your humor, they just thought about you as an undocumented person. So my question to you is, what did you see firsthand with these experiences and the way you grew up and how you made it public? Because that's important. You were super brave and very vulnerable to make it public. How did that shape the way you see storytelling today? Like, how did that shape your comedy, your social media? Because you're not anymore undocumented and you're not anymore underserved. You're actually successful now. And so, but how did that experience, that affected your, the experience you lived and how you live today and connect with people?
Yeah, for all those who are still going through it, it's such a difficult situation to grow up in this country. Because when you grow up undocumented, it's not fully undocumented. You fall in and out of status all the time. So one of the things that I didn't realize it did to me psychologically was to never depend too long on what the future is going to be, because I never had that luxury. I might have had a work permit for 2 years, but I'm like, I could work at the subways for 2 years. So I better stack that subway artist money, because in 2 years, I don't know where I'm going to be. I was never able to think about college in a traditional sense, because I was like, I need to educate myself. I need to figure out how to, do the things that I want to do outside of traditional realms, which is why I became an artist at 18 years old. I became a stand-up comedian, and I didn't talk about it. I was afraid to talk about my undocumented experience until I saw kids in cages, and then I realized, oh man, like Trump 1.0, that I was like, I could have easily been one of these kids. And for me not to speak about my experience, I think it's irresponsible. And that's where what's really funny is I literally heard this 2 weeks ago and I went, oh, that's what I'm doing. And I have to give credit, it was a Black woman. She came up with it. Her name is Jaz. She runs I Love Heart Media. And she goes, Che, you are not a content creator. You are a context creator. What you do is, with your experience, you take a news story and you go, let me tell you how someone who's actually lived this is perceiving this. Let me use my comedy to tell you how someone who's literally had to not have a social how he had to get a driver's license in like 20 states away from him. Do you know what I mean? Like, let me tell you these things that are difficult, but I'm going to share it with you in a way where I'm going to contextualize it for you. I'm going to make you either laugh, I'm going to make you cry, I'm going to teach you something, and then I am going to not just get new ideas into your brain, but I'm going to get new feelings into your heart for you to care about me. Because one of the things that I've done my shows in the Midwest, and I'll be real, I've had people who are, from the other side, be like, hey man, I didn't like immigrants, but I like you. And I'm like, start there. Because I'm really not that different. I don't like, one of the things that I feel really like, and by the way, I love, you'd be like, oh, you're great at what you do. But one thing I feel icky for people be like, man, you're really special. God, you're so unique. I'm like, you kidding me? I know 1,000 funny undocumented Latinos right now, bro, that could probably be doing a better job than me. The only thing I have is I'm crazy enough to get out to the mic and actually talk about it. But I take that mantle very seriously. I very much take it to the heart that every time I step on stage, I got my whole community behind me, and I need to do a good job contextualizing the pain that we're going through or the joy that we're going through or whatever it is, to be able to reach the masses in a way that makes them go, man, I was wrong about that dude and the people that raised him or the community that he comes from. Because I'll be real with you, I didn't know I grew up in the hood. I thought I lived in the most loving neighborhood in the world until somebody's like, you in the hood? I'm like, that's a hood? It's like, I don't know, man. I'm almost scared of your neighborhood. You know what I mean? Because my neighborhood is beautiful. It's lovely. So I had to contextualize a lot of these things to people. Like, you guys are seeing it you see a broken down building. I see people inside working so hard to maintain what they have and be able to continue it for the next generation, to build it up even further. You want to tear it down, I'm trying to build it up.
Of course. Wow. With this, like, you are a context creator. I can think about that for like 3 hours. It's like mind blowing. You're absolutely right. Especially because I've followed you for so long. That's what you do. Wow, that's incredible. And Che, that part of you grew up not knowing that you were undocumented, or that you were, you had challenges. I hear that so much in our community, you guys. And I think that our families, whether they're the traditional family or not, whether they're perfect or not, our families make us feel like that. That's one of the treasures that we have in our, and again, I'm not saying that we're perfect, and I'm not saying that parents are perfect. But there's this family thing that we kind of grow saying, like, we're privileged because we have this. And we know of other people that didn't have it back in our country, or in our previous neighborhood, or cousins, right, that are going through this. And then last point of what you said, I hate when people tell me, yeah, but you're special. And first of all, because you're absolutely right, there are thousands of people like me. And second, because they assume that everybody else in my community is less.
Yeah.
And that I can't resist. I mean, I always have a smart ass, sorry, but answer about that. I'm like, no. I mean, there's many of us, and you should know all of our stories. So, wow, that's powerful. Thank you. Okay, question for Elio. And this is because of your very specialty. Sorry for the redundance, but you're in an area that we, at least I'm going to talk for me, like, it's like a mystery, right? It's just like something that I never thought I could ever do, and I don't know much about. So I want to ask you this. So from El Niño que alcanzó las estrellas, which is Elio's book that is incredible, to working on missions at NASA and beyond, your story resonates so deeply with so many of us in our community and outside, by the way. But beyond the idea of just follow your dreams, which of course you embody so well, what do you hope young Latinos and their families, families, like your mom, etc., like your mom, right, like me, what do you hope we really understand, of what it takes to get into that space, right? Into the space of aerospace, into science, into STEM, into all these places that can take us to have a career like yours. And what are some of the biggest myths that you still have to break, that you still have to work with, today?
So I think there's multiple aspects to this, and I live in this weird duality because space and these very technical conversations and these designs and these crazy things we do are so normal to me that, you know, I have to recognize when I talk to people, it's really not like these are very difficult. These are very difficult industries where we're building spacecraft and rockets that work on miracle after miracle after miracle of precision that we have to calculate and design and meticulously review. And it is very difficult to get into. And I think what I like to highlight to folks is that there's nobody better primed to break into these kind of industries than our Latinos, because it's not that I'm smarter than everyone else, but I can sure as hell outwork a lot of my peers. And I know that that is just the case for many of us. And the where I've been very fortunate throughout my entire life is that I have had incredible support. I don't come from money, so I know that money is restrictive. I don't come from money, but I do come from a very supportive family, very supportive different communities throughout my entire life. From being, you know, we were in Ecuador, our family took us in New York City. Then I moved to Puerto Rico for reasons that are detailed in my book. And I grew up in Puerto Rico, and being in Puerto Rico, I was embraced by the community. Then going back to New York City once again, being in high school, despite the challenges that I faced, I was surrounded by incredible people. My mom calls my friends the United Nations because we're from all over the place. And once again, it was a matter of being able to not only take advantage of resources that were placed in front of us, but sharing that with others and making sure that other people became aware of how do we go to this good high school? How do we go to this college that seems incredibly expensive, but oh, by the way, here's a bunch of different scholarships. Here are different pathways too, because oh, guess what? Going to a four-year institution is not necessarily an option for everyone. You can go to community college. You can do it through all these different ways. But then there's communities like the Society of Hispanic Professional Engineer that say, oh, it doesn't matter really what school you came from. Come over here. We're going to tell you how to prepare yourself professionally so that you can be a very high contributor in the workforce, right? So I'll never be able to say that I am like a self-made person. Like it would just be a lie. Every step of the way, I've had someone help me in one way or form. And then, of course, paired with hard work, because it is part of this. This is a very difficult industry. Engineering is incredibly difficult. Then I'm able to now say, yeah, I have a spacecraft on Mars. I was the first person to launch a helicopter on another planet. And now I'm building lunar landers for both robotic and crewed missions that are going to go to the moon very, very soon. This isn't because I'm here by myself in any way or form. I'm also part of these incredible teams that I get to contribute, and now I'm a manager. I'm not only am I a technical contributor, I'm responsible for my people's wellness. So I appreciate the topic of wellness, because even through my own story, as I've said, being in these very high demanding industries, be it media, be it whatever it is, it demands excellence from us. But excellence is often paired with a lot of self-sacrifice. And that can take a toll in our personal relationships, our health, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm not somebody that's ashamed to talk about it in detail. So I do in my book, and I share that, hey, yeah, I have all these things on other planets, but by the way, my body came back at me with a vengeance. And oh, I had troubles with relationships, romantic and personal, et cetera, because it is really hard to balance it all. So all to say, it's like struggles are a part of life, but it doesn't mean you have to struggle by yourself. The people you surround yourself by and the people that you help are going to be what, you know, elevate you. I'm a strong believer of dime con quien andas y te diré quién eres, right? I think we are an average of the people that we're surrounded by. It's the truth. I jokingly say I'm the dumb one of my friend group. If you look at the people that I'm surrounded by, like my close friends, professors, lawyers, doctors, they're doing crazy things, millionaires. It's amazing, but it's inspiring for me to continue to be performing as I do, but then also help out wherever I can to say like, hey, you know, I came from nothing. You can do this too. I think that's where social media has been powerful. And also, you never know who's listening in social media, right? Like two things, and maybe one is like a little bit of spoiler of things to come in my own content, but I was found by HarperCollins through like a video that I put out. And that's where my book deal came from. And similarly, I put out some videos on LinkedIn recently, and that is, you know how there's Flo from Progressive, and then there's like Jake from Steak Farm. Well, I'm gonna be the guy for a major appliance brand, and it's because I just put out my story, and you really never know who's out there listening. So I'll just say, put out your stories, share your stories. It's important to be examples and continue leading in our communities.
Absolutely. And we see your mom there.
Mami, saluda, que ya saliste. Ven acá.
Hola.
Hola, señora, ¿cómo
Saluda, porque
está?
ya
Mucho
saliste por
gusto.
ahí. Te está viendo todo el
Ya
mundo.
nos contaron el
no.
Un placer. Su hijo es bien inteligente.
Sí.
Ay,
Están diciendo un
Qué
placer un
gusto.
montón de
Gracias
cosas.
por contárnoslos.
un placer. Ay, Elio.
Estamos hablando de la familia. Estamos hablando de la familia y cómo los criamos en nuestra
Qué
comunidad.
bendición.
so sweet.
It's a real blessing to
Sí.
have your mom with you.
Yes, absolutely. And you know what? I encourage you guys to, and I know you do, but that's your superpower. You don't, it's so interesting. We take it for granted, but look around. Other communities don't have this gift. And that's one of the many superpowers that we have. As Elio said, he didn't do it alone. His
No.
mom had and all the surroundings. That's so important. I think that's really one of my key things with you guys. I hope you appreciate it. I'm sure you are, and you're mature enough now that you understand it. But that's amazing. Okay, we have so much to say, but unfortunately, we only have 8 minutes.
Oh my God, this has gone by so fast.
I know, it's crazy, and I know you're gonna have to come back.
I feel like there's so much more to say.
Exactly, it's a commitment. So to close, I don't think we're gonna have a lot of time for questions and answers, but I want to hear from the three of you the last question. So everything that you've done is remarkable, and everything that you've done also included data, included support, included community. Can each one of you tell me, for a young person watching this, right? So, and a young person that usually is asking, right? It's idealistic, etc. What can I do today? Young people that are asking, what can I do today? How can they use the communication hub of the LDC, of Elevate Latinos, that is full of information, free data? How can they use it to get informed, to get involved, and to start shaping better representation in their own community? Because that's what we want. We create the tools. Now we want you to run with it to your life. We don't want you to do anything specific. Just want you to use them so that you empower everything that you do. Can you start? Let's start with Katherine.
Well, I think the information that you put out there is very empowering. Going back to what you talked earlier about the massive gaslighting, I think the numbers show otherwise regarding our strength. So, and also a little bit piggybacking on what Elio was saying, really, you can't do anything on your own. I didn't do anything on my own. It really is rely on the power of community. Community is so important. If you think you don't have the means to do something, guess what? Get together with a group of friends, and todos, you can collaborate and do something together. Use your voices, use your stories, tell your stories, because again, saying what Elio, piggybacking on that, you never know who's listening. And by the way, not only who's listening in the sense of how they're going to highlight your story, but who's listening in the sense that you're going to change that person's life. It really is a ripple effect. You just never know. Pick up whatever you can, tell your story in a manner that's most easy to you and most authentic. Authenticity will always connect and will always, go across places that you would never imagine.
Great advice, Katherine. I think that's taking action, right? And it's just living and sharing. And
yes, and by the way, look around you. There are stories that you can get inspired with everywhere. And again, your own life, your own story. You are so interesting. Don't think that just because, you just see yourself. No, you are so interesting. Tell your story. Start there. Take action, pick up the phone. If it's with the phone, pick up the phone and just start filming.
brilliant. That's so good. I love that. Excellent. Thank you, Katherine. Elio.
I think something that's very important, and we're often a victim of our own culture, is to keep our heads down and just do the work, right? Mantén la cabeza abajo, no pidas ayuda, sigue adelante. No, I think that is something that a lot of us have to completely tear apart from our brains, and have the humility to ask for help whenever you need it. I think it is a skill. It's a hard thing to do, to admit that you don't know something and that you need someone else's help. I think, I'll share an anecdote from something that happened to me. When I moved to New York City from Puerto Rico, I came from a pretty decent school in Puerto Rico, but it was a cultural clash. Going to high school in New York City is like applying to college for those that know or that don't know. When I went through the process, the guidance counselor at the time, which by the way is a Caribbean man, before you make any stereotypes or attach any stereotypes to this, he's a Caribbean man. He deflated my grades, and that didn't sit well with me. And I told my mom about it. All I know is that the next day, my mom, not knowing English, she took my uncle to the district and they spoke to whoever they spoke. By that Friday of that week, they corrected everything and the paperwork was aligned. However, I was lucky because I had my mom's support and I kind of asked for the help. She asked for help. She went and demanded for what was best. I can't imagine how many kids are out there that don't know to speak up and just assume and take whatever is in front of them because they're just keeping their head down in whatever they're going through. I think it's really important for people to speak up, and for those of us that can, to advocate and to step in and to help.
Wow, I love that. So, Elio, it's not, so humility is okay, but it's not the humility of calladito te ves más bonito.
Exactamente.
It's the humility of knowing your mistakes and accepting them, but having a strong voice when you know you're right.
Exactly.
That's the humility we need.
También.
Right? Love that. I love that. Okay, Che, take us home because we have 2 minutes and I know you're a closer.
I am a headliner. I'll make this very quick. I love what everybody's saying about, taking the data, and I will speak from my own experience. Look, I really genuinely do use the LDC data all the time and Elevate Latinos data. But the one place that I see it making the most impact through and through is when in my own personal lives. I remember, this is just joking around, but a few years ago, I was literally hanging out with my family and they were giving me things that sort of fell under the realm of mis and disinformation. And I was like, ¿Qué? Ustedes no saben que nosotros Latinos, we make this much money, we do this, we do that. And I was throwing so much LDC data, but with heart, that at the end they were like, Che for press, Che for press. And I'm like, I can't run. You know what I mean? But I say that to say to young people, you have a voice, you have so much power. And especially we live in a world where unfortunately a lot of our community members are being fed mis and disinformation online. So I know it may seem like homework, but if you go to the Elevate Latinos Hub and you see the work and you take it into your heart, when you go and talk to family members who may be spewing that kind of stuff, that is like, what are you talking about? Yo, check out this page right here. Telling you the fact, it actually moves them, because when they hear from somebody they trust and somebody they love, they're more willing to be like, you know what, that was bad thinking. I shouldn't have thought like that. My bad. My niece and my nephew call me Unc. You know what I mean? And they're like, yo, Unc, you right, bro. You right. My bad. And then they take that and they've gone to their schools to talk to their classmates about Elevate Latino data. Seriously. So I'm just saying, please look up the site, take this to heart, and use it any way you can in your everyday life, because when you can change the minds of people, those around you, the trickle effect is beyond what you think it is. Your voice actually matters and it changes hearts. So, do it.
Thank you, Che. Because you know what? It's not only enough to have a voice, but you need to have the data to stand
100%.
for. And that's what we want to give you, the data, so that you go and scream, what you have to scream with, because you have everything that backs up your power. Thank you. I think you never disappoint, Che. You closed it. It's fantastic.
I know how to land a plane.
Absolutely. And the three of you have to come back, because quite frankly, this was only the beginning of everything that we can, share, and that the public can actually learn from you guys. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Unfortunately, we have reached the conclusion of this great hour. Thank you, Katherine. Thank you, Elio. Thank you, Che. For those of you that have questions, our wonderful Pablo, the staff of Elevate Latinos, will make sure that we get back to you with answers. We don't have time, but thanks for being here. Go to elevatelatinos.com. Also, follow us. Follow each one of us, not only in social media, but also LinkedIn. LinkedIn is very important. Remember, professionally, LinkedIn always matter. Please contact us. Please connect with us. We want to be your friends. We want to remain together. Go, and when you go to Elevate Latinos, go and interact, please, with Substack. We want to hear your point of views. Thank you. The three of you guys are absolutely fabulous. Thanks for everything you do. And I can't wait to see you soon and in person, because we're planning an influencer convening in Arizona. You'll hear more about us.
Can you come to LA,
Bye.
please?
Yes, exactly. The second will be in LA for sure, Katherine. Thanks to the public too. Thanks for being with us. Keep engaging.
Bye, you
guys.
safe.
Un placer.
Stay safe.
Un placer, un honor.
Besos, abrazos.